Hey guys, it's Avenger. Welcome back to the channel. We're here in Lone Pine, California for a very gentle flight today. Nothing extremely dramatic or exciting is going to happen, I hope, but I think you could all do with a bit of a chill. So go get a cup of tea, go relax, go find your favourite beverage, sit down and join me as we fly through Southern California here in the Sierra Nevadas, and just enjoy some aviation. As always, both these airports we'll be going to today will be in the description. I said we're at Lone Pine today, and it's a gorgeous little field up here in the middle of the valley. So quiet, so flat, despite the mountains all around us. And such a lovely little airfield. Obviously a good gliding spot, but we've got, you know, hangars. What have we got over here? We've got some more work areas. We've got some park stuff nearby, trailer park or two. More hangars. We've got a dirt strip here, and we'll go to the asphalt one just over there. Quite a taxi, actually, to the asphalt runway. But we've got, as I mentioned, Carenado's Bonanza. I love this thing. I really do. Unreasonably love it. It's just a fun aircraft. So parking brake is good. We know that much. Avionics are off. Breakers are all pushed in. Gear is set to down. We're down. Flaps are 0. Cowl flaps fully open. Where's my cowl flaps lever? It's on here somewhere. Is that open? I never remember with this thing. That's open. Okay, fantastic. Lights are good. AP trims are off. Fuels to fullest tank. It's down here. So we're left main. We're good there. Battery to on. Alternator on. Check fuel quantity indicators. Fuel quantity is good. Okay. Starting engine mixture is too rich. Nice and easy there. Crack this. That's throttle to full. Electric fuel pump to on. Until fuel flow peaks. It has peaked. Okay, so that's good. Throttle to 1/4 inch. And we'll go to mags to start. Boom. Okay. So we'll go to 1200 I should say, RPM there. Let this thing warm up. It doesn't need to because there's no systems yet for this aircraft, but you know what? We can pretend, and I like doing it properly when I can. Alternators on. Avionics are all on here. GPS system starting up. We're going to go via two little spots today. The Needles, which are a fantastic natural formation. We'll see if they're in the sim. And the Fairview Dam. We're heading down to Lake Isabella. Near Kernsville. So we'll be heading just down the way there. Should be a nice little trip for us today. About 20-some minutes. So it should be a good little journey. Without too much drama. We all love a nice little relaxing trip sometimes. And you know what? This is a brilliant aircraft for it. It's just nice and simple, relaxing. No problem whatsoever. Now, as you can see, our altitude is about 3.5, 3,700 right now. So a little bit higher than normal. But we should be okay. So that's that off there. So everything else is good for us right here, as we are expected to be. We're going to be taxiing out here, so we'll just... Oh, there we go. And yeah, it's like a half a mile to 3634. Okay, everything is good for me right now. We'll get ourselves taxiing here. So, like I said, I love the Carenado 35. Knowing this will get the tablet system, of course, from FS 2024. See, this is one of those things I always thought was a bit sad about a lot of the famous flyers and a lot of the local legends aircraft that were coming into 2024 is they lacked Carenados of the systems like their tablet for features and a few other bits and pieces. But now, think about it. These local legends aircraft, which are like a £9 aircraft, are going to have that tablet functionality. So for navigation, that's going to be huge. For, you know, various other access to systems, it'll be huge as well. But the biggest thing is navigation. So some of these aircraft that really lacked what you'd probably have in a modern aircraft now, like the business liner, the Cessna 195, which is lovely, but relies purely on radio navigation. You have literally no other modern navigation tools, and in a world of increasing RNAV and reliance on GPS systems, it was a little sad that you didn't have that, because you don't have as many VORs now or NDBs to use. So we'll have that in all this aircraft. Now, the one thing that does make me pause for thought is what happens to vintage aircraft? Because obviously in the default aircraft I saw when I was in Arizona, a lot of these aircraft that basically had the tablet, it was just there. There must be a hide thing somewhere. Like, there must be a hide function. Because just having it there the whole time is distracting. You know, you might remove it or get rid of it. Right? There must be a hide function. And if there's not, we'll develop as add-on. Because do I want to have a tablet sitting there the whole time in a Junkers 52? Do I want to sit there having a tablet there in an old Dornier seaplane? Or in the Beech 18? Or any other historic aircraft? Do I want to see a large tablet sitting prominently in a Spitfire? Right? That's going to be weird. Yeah? That's my point. That needs to be something that we can basically toggle on and off. Because I like it, but if it's there in the corner of my screen the entire time, next to me, useful for navigation, but really annoying when it comes to the view. Okay, we'll give ourselves a notch of flaps here. And we'll get ourselves going. We'll have to come and pop up over those mountains to our right on the way down. No, they're behind us, technically. We're taking up to the north right now. So we'll be exiting on the downwind here. Airspeed's coming good. Going to pitch back, and we're going to come off the ground. A little bit of a tipple there. Airspeed's good. Looking good. Nice and straight off the runway. Bring those flaps in. Bring that gear up. Trim for climb. Probably a bit much, actually, at that point. Trim wheel went a little bit crazy there. I always have a bit of a difference of opinion between the trim wheel and... See, now my trim wheel in my Bravo unit's responding very, 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 very rapidly. That's quite weird. I'm so used to having to spin this thing around a dozen times to get even a degree of motion, but for some reason today, it is being very sensitive to this aircraft, and I can actually trim like a normal trim wheel. Wild. Let's pull our RPM in and we'll turn here. Over Lone Pine. Although I suspect this is false, because there appear to be quite a few pines, at least over there to the south. I love seeing some of these towns in America, these small little places in the middle of nowhere. They really feel very local, don't they? Very unique. Individual. So that ridgeline's going to have to be mastered for us, so we're going to be heading that way now. Departing with a dogleg downwind. Outbound. Okay, nice and easy. There we go. No problemo. A little bit of chop out here, but not too bad. So we'll bring the RPM down. Go for 22.5, 22.5 square. Nice and tidy. That's our cruise. We'll put it up to about 24 whilst I'm climbing, because I still need to get a bit of altitude here. And we'll keep our eyes on our EGT here, as it's a naturally aspirated engine. And as we're coming up through 5.5, we're going to want to start... There we go. You see? I'm leaning back to... And there's a trick for those of you who don't actually understand your mixture. Above about 3,500 feet, you're going to want to start leaning. Now, you'll pull back mixture full rich here, see? I'm going to pull it back. And I'm going to watch my EGT as I'm starting to fly at a weird angle. EGT will start coming up as I lean it. You see? And of course, that does, I'm getting more power, so it's climbing. And a quick rule of thumb, I'm going to pull it back so I'm just lean of peak. So when it gets to its peak point, which is there, I'm going to pull back till I'm just lean of that. There we go, that's just lean. So there's a little nudge forward, and that's me about right. And I'd say that's about... It doesn't have the percentage displaying. I'm trying to feel it on the actual handle here. I'm actually about 60% of the way out, I'd say. Yeah, that sounds about right. Because that's the prop there. That's the mixture. So feeling how much room is left below the lever versus how much on top. I'm about, no, about 50% out. So about 50% lean. And that's giving us a good amount of power here. We're still climbing about 1,000 feet a minute as we're coming towards the ridgeline here. We should be okay. We can cut to the south a little bit if we need to, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem for us. Look at that scenery. It's flat, but it's beautiful, isn't it? There's my ugly mug in the aeroplane. And took off from down there. Got a small massif in the centre. A little town tucked down there. Of course, these people built these places where there was shade, or rivers, lakes, etc. A river there. A lot of these places were established in the early part of the 20th century, the late part of the 18th, sorry, 19th, late part of the 19th century, I should say, and early part of the 20th century, with the gold rush in California. So a lot of these towns exist because of that. And you can see here there's a road cutting all the way up the mountainside. We'll fly over this, actually. Take a good look at it. But how else do you climb up this place? You got to go up to get across, so you got to zigzag. Still maintaining good power here. Give it a bit more throttle as we climb, though. Now I'm at full throttle, see? I can sit here at full throttle at this altitude as we come up through towards 8,000 feet. And I'm only at 22.5, so consideration when you're getting to altitude is how your aircraft's going to perform with this. So we're losing speed, but we should clear the ridgeline ahead of us where the road is. We can pitch down and we'll build some speed here. So we're still climbing about 100 knots ground speed. So despite being about 90 indicated, we're still doing good with the wind. Not bad at all. Now my flaps are up, I know that much. I'm going to pull those cowl flaps in a second once we get levelled out here. Because I'm running the engine quite hard, so I just want to keep an eye on the instruments first. But we'll take a look at some temp management in a second. Fuel's good right now. Both manual and digital gauge are agreeing. So there's the road cutting up the mountainside. And we should come across the ridgeline here. And as you can see, we're getting a big boost there in... well, we were getting a boost. We're not now. Now it's holding. We should be able to cut between these peaks here as the road will come across behind us. As you can see, it came up over the peak here, wound its way up the mountaintop, and now it's basically coming along the ridgeline here is the highway. As it'll cut through here and wind its way around the peaks. Yeah, ignore the German registration. I need to change that because I fly a few times in one area, then I forget to change it and it sticks for a while. And it's okay when it's an N number, which you see all over the world, but seeing a German registered bonanza in the Sierra Nevadas probably seems a little bit strange. Now we're in a bit of a conundrum here because I'm still losing pressure with altitude gained. Although I'll need to... No, that's about all I'm going to get here from that power wise, so about 20 inches. And I can come around here, so we have to be a bit more cautious about where we're travelling. Because we're starting to peak out in terms of power to climb, so I need to get the nose down at some point to start. Or reduce my climb rate at least, but I'm still struggling to make sure I stay clear of terrain. It's a very rocky, sparse landscape here. There we go. Right. Let's just make sure I'm a little bit loose on the controls, but we'll keep about 400 or 500 feet of climb. Just so we're staying out of trouble as we approach 10,000 feet here. Yeah, 10,000 feet and there's still terrain above us. These ain't small mountains we're passing through. And of course, people had to cross this over in carts and on horseback during the gold rush. Trains weren't here yet, and they certainly weren't getting around too much, but our road's still there. Probably one of the original roads cut through the mountains, see, going through the lowest point they could find, the most direct route they can get to the valley. Going down through along here, across this kind of similar to an Alp in Europe. It's not quite the same sort of thing, but it's a plain basically up here at altitude. But obviously sandier and more deserty up here, it's quite arid conditions. Right, we're on track for where we're going, and we should clear the terrain ahead of us, no problemo. Keep that 500 in and we're getting a little bit of speed, so we're picking up to about 100 knots on the ground. We're definitely not going as fast as we could be doing here, so once we get over the highest points I want to try and drop down and make our life a little bit more tolerable when it comes to speed. Where'd that road go? Because it was behind us. It's buggered off that way, I think. Yeah, it's gone that way. These high pastures up here in the mountains. Got to be careful in this kind of terrain. Keep your eye on what the plane's doing. It's getting thinner, so my RPM's gone up there. Less resistance to the prop, so I'm going to want to just nudge that back a little bit to where I want to keep it, about 22.5. Get what little I can here. And I'm down to about maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches left at the bottom of my mixture here. Probably about 70% out. There we go. More altitude here is perfect. We'll drop the nose now. Build some speed whilst we can travel straight and level. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. A little bit off course there. But no, terrain's going to be in our favour now, so I'll try and get our head down and build some airspeed, do what we need to do to get moving here. And we'll be on our way past the Needles, and then the Fairview Dam, and then down into Kern Valley. So it should be a nice little trip here. Get my feet off the pedals, relax a little bit. Let's get our nose down there. Obviously the big release of 2024 is coming up fairly soon, so I'm quite excited. I'm not sure about you guys, but a lot to be looking forward to. And it's going to be a good time. I'm excited for our future with the new sim. It's going to be enjoyable and it's going to be a lot coming. And am I having a few silly videos recently? Yes, but it's fun sometimes. We do our serious. And we also want to have our fun too. Because the sim can get taken very seriously. But it can also be taken lightly. And we have to remember not every user is going to take the sim super seriously like we do all the time. And what people consider serious also varies. I, for example, never do call-outs on the radio when I'm flying around in a review. Or in a lot of these free flight videos. Why? Because I'm talking to you. And it would obviously interrupt that. And there's no traffic for me to worry about. I have AI turned off largely because most of my personal flying happens in the bush. I'm not going to see other planes. And it's very weird seeing lots of Cessnas buzzing around some bush trip in the middle of Alaska. Because the sim spawns them, whether they're meant to be there or not. Will that change in 24? It might do. So we'll see. So I tend to turn it off and leave it off. Plus, there's a habit from FSX there with me that you turn the AI traffic off because it saves you performance. So it's an old FSX era trick. Same with turning off the cars and boats and stuff. It saves you performance. And not as necessary now. So I leave things like boats and cars on sometimes. Cars tend to look a bit weird sometimes, skipping around and zipping like ninjas. So I don't always have that on, but it does depend. It's a beautiful journey here. Oh, oh, caught a draft there. Let's get the nose back down again. It's about 11.5 right now, and it's nice and gentle. Nice and gentle. Can I get anything more out of the... Nope, that's absolutely about the most we're going to get out of the EGT there. Our mixture. So our fuel flow is pretty good right now. We're on 10 gallons an hour, which is down from our 20, I believe it was, or 15, sorry. So we basically saved like 5 gallons an hour flying at this altitude. That's one of the reasons why you will fly higher, is because you burn less fuel for the same speed. Right now I'm doing 148 knots across the ground. I'm indicating about 121, 122. So I've got a reasonably good speed. I've got decent winds up here. And because of the altitude, I'm saving fuel, flying faster, and it's more efficient. There's a trade-off with prop aircraft, especially naturally aspirated prop aircraft, obviously. But it's not too bad. Little bit of a nudge. I'm flying right now, by the way, with a thumb and a finger. That's one of the nice things about being properly trimmed out, is the aircraft just cruises along. Super gentle. I get to enjoy the exterior view sometimes. Oh, pretty Bonanza. I love this thing. Even though it's not got as much depth as some aircraft, the Bonanza, the V-tail, it's iconic. and it's a classic little plane. And whilst I love my bush planes, if I have to fly a plane out on something that's more touristy or more GA, maybe like this. This is very GA. I like an aeroplane like the Bonanza because it's just fun and relaxing. It's got a bit of that vintage uniqueness and coolness to it. And it's got great visibility too. You've got the Beechcraft nice layouts, and I'd probably will actually fly some of the Sierra, actually. The C-24. Although I do admit I'm not a huge fan of the G5 units that are on the steam version of the cockpit. But as you can see here, good visibility to the side and good visibility to the front. Over the nose down there. A little bit of direction change here. A little bit of a nose down as we actually are needing to descend soon. About 4 minutes out from the Needles. And then we're very closely after that reaching the Fairview Dam. A lot of dams were built in this area of California in about the 50s. Mostly to service the growing populations of California. Because things boomed during the war and after the war. In fact, during and after the war there was a power shortage, and so they built a ton of hydroelectric power stations. In fact, I believe the Fairview Dam was 1919 to 1921, so it was one of the burgeoning projects there as California started to really expand. God, this is pretty out here. Look at this. River valleys down below us, coming down from the mountain peaks. A distinctly American mountain range feel of these wide open expanses, forested, craggy. Tend to get similar mountains in, obviously South America, very similar terrain to the Andes. Because same mountain range essentially. It's not the same, but it's the same reason. It's the same Pacific plate pushing up against the continents. As you can see similar terrain as well in Nepal and in northern India. These massives building up here towards the peak of the join. There we go. And now we're pushing up to 130, so we're putting out 160 ground speed here. We've got a little bit of a descent going on, which is fine. We've got plenty of room to go with that. We're absolutely eating at the time now. 2 minutes to the Needles. We'll see if it's there in the sim. I hope it is. It's marked as a point of interest on the map in the sim, by the way, so you can do this flight too. Like I said, I'll put the icos and I'll put the scenery links in the description as always. So you can go to these two waypoints. They're directly between Lone Pine and up towards Kern Valley. Or down to Kern Valley, I should say. So you will be able to find those. They're right there for you. I think the Needles are directly ahead of us on this ridgeline, if I'm correct. Because we're about 2 minutes away. So we're going to descend a little bit here. I think the cloud might be hiding what we're looking for. But there's a fire watch tower up there actually on the Needles, which was built in, God, the 20s, 30s? I've got a note here. I'm just going to quickly read that actually. So Needles Lookout is off the Western Highway, 10 miles north of Mountain Road. It's on the Needles, sorry. And it was built, the lookout was constructed in 1937 to 1938 by the Civilian Conservation Corps. It was destroyed in a structure fire, and the lookout tower was built later again. So, I hope we'll find that tower once we get down here. A little power out here so we don't overspeed as we descend a bit more. Let's get back at the pedals. Yeah, there's our turning point up ahead. So we'll drop round this actually. Pick up the edge of the cloud. I want to kind of skirt around it. Especially at this altitude, I could really ice up fairly quickly in that kind of thing. There's the Needles, yes, see? There's the Needles, right on the ridgeline. Hey! Go down here and take a look. Oh, we're building up a lot of speed here, so Yes, 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 yes. Quiet. Great spot to build an observation tower, by the way, because look at what you can see. Everything from up here. Huge, expansive view. And with the Firefinder, which is a map and a kind of target kind of reticle system that they had in fire towers in America, that lets you basically chart, you know, azimuths to locate various kind of locations of smoke you can find around, and you can trace along lines. So there's the needles. It's nothing crazy, but it's kind of cool. I think the fire tower's on that one, actually, but it's not here in the sim. At least we actually have them, though. So that's why it's called the needles. You got these kind of spiky rocks from this side. Oh, is it actually there? I think it is. No, it is. See? Oh, crap. They did include it. Right there. You see? The needles right here. And there's the fire tower with this. Oh my god, the stairs as well. Yep, that's a lot of steps to climb up, and there's the tower. Wowie. Oh, we'll pull around here, a little bit of a yinky doodle. And we are on our way. Wing waggle there to anybody who's up at the fire tower giving us a watch. And we'll get on our way to our business. Well, this river is basically the one we're going to be following, because this is where the dam will be at Fairview. Damming that river, so we'll go back to full power because we can afford to right now. We're only 4 minutes away, so we're not too far up the beaten track. And I meant to close off the cowls, didn't I? So off should be good, because our temperatures are actually in the green right now. We'll keep an eye on them in case we need to change anything, but we're in the green on everything so far. Wait, what's this at that? Prop amps. Is my alternator's on? Interesting. Amp readout's at 0. Weird. Is my alternator not generating power? Where's my battery readout in this thing? I don't know where the battery readout is in the... I probably should know where the battery readout is in the Bonanza, but I don't, actually. Surprisingly, I don't. Oh, Amsterdam. We actually are... Okay, we're charging. So we actually are... We're powering. That's weird then. Why is the prop amps a 0? I'm not used to seeing prop amps in an aircraft, so that's a weird instrument for me to not understand why it's at 0. Okay, so 2 minutes we'll be at the dam here. No, it will be down below us there, following the river. That looks like a strip. I don't think it is. Or at least not per this. But that looks landable to me. That looks like some sort of road strip there. You've got a turning circle area at the end. Let's check what the VFR map says. No, nothing's listed there. Weird, because that's absolutely definitely landable. Smuggling a strip in the middle of the mountains? Could well be. Right, let's descend out of this cloud here. We don't want to be in that. Dam should be ahead of us past this bend, I think. Now, the Fairview Dam... Well, the Needles, by the way, those are granite formations. We mentioned those earlier. And they're rising up the North Fork of the Kern River. This is the Kern River here, the little Kern River down below us. Now, The Fairview Dam is the uppermost component of the KR3 power plant conveyor system for California, built between 1919 and 1921. And the water is diverted into a tunnel and then dropped to the power plant, which is located downstream at the lickety-split section of the Upper Kern, just north of Kernville. So it's quite a complicated little system, but you'll see it down there. Actually, probably better off staying inside the plane for this. Although there's the dam, and it's siphoned off and drops down the tunnel to the lower river. There's the overflow. So there's the dam. It drops into the tunnel system here. Down there. So it's not your typical hydro dam, as you might expect. We'll see one of those a little bit further down once we get down to Lake Isabella. And we're only 4 minutes away from that, so we should actually see the power plant downstream here. Go. Get a bit more power now. We drop some altitude. 6.5, which means I can probably rich up my mixeroni there. Nicely done. The mixture thing's something you get used to. My trick has always been to go off my exhaust gas temperature. Gives me the most accurate number I can go with. Usually to the conditions I'm in. It's also listening to the aircraft engine as well, because it will vary with power. We're getting just about 24 inches there on the manifold. 4 minutes away from here. Just the far side of these mountains to Kern Valley. A rather nice little part of America. And it's part of inland California you don't tend to see so often. You see a lot of the coastal California. But inland California is beautiful. Look at this. Gorgeous landscape. Rocky, desolate, and scrubby. It's gold country. It really is. Now we're heading down to, like I mentioned, Lake Isabella. Now, it's named after the town of Isabella, which was named in itself after Queen Isabella of Spain. Of course, Isabella the town, and people had obviously been aware, the Spanish obviously involved in America. She was pretty popular at the time. So the town was called Isabella. When they built the dam in 1953 that made Lake Isabella, they named it after the town. So the lake became Lake Isabella. There you have a little bit of California trivia. The dry gulch there, I kind of like seeing that. I love seeing this in the photometry. I was a big opponent of photometry in the FSX years, because FSX photometry, photo scenery, was okay. It looked good, but it was also very, very... It lacked... You didn't get autogen. You had the photo scenery, that's it. So you didn't have this kind of really kind of nicely textured landscape where you've got all this detail, but you had... It was flat. Well, smooth. You didn't have the photo... Or the autogen in the right places as you do in this. So the benefit of Black Shark AI, of course, from Microsoft is that you've now got autogen on that stuff. So you don't need to have handcrafted autogen on your photo stuff, which is what Orbix was doing with their photo stuff towards the end of the FSX days and the P3D days, is that you now obviously have a blended environment of the two, giving you a really, really rich environment, which we just didn't have. Whereas now we do, and it makes all the world of difference. So our airport is just up ahead of us, and the lake is just coming into view now. But you can make out the airport, I think, is down here. But the lake is there. So we're going to have a quick boop around the lake, spot the dam, and then come back and land. And as we're landing on 3.5, that should be perfect for us. It won't be a downhill, but we'll be the only one to land, so we can just fudge it for this one. And as you'll notice there, part of the tunnel to the power station. Right there. See? Power station, part of the water flowing down. That's how it's generating a lot of this as it returns it to the river system. And it's part of a number of systems involved, of course, to create this chain of them. There's our airport. We'll just pop over here, Lake Isabella. course, created by flooding from the dam creation. Now, a lot of these bodies of water that were created definitely didn't help the environment. They didn't help certain species that lived in certain areas, and they, of course, hurt fish migration. Native populations, of course, by this point were stuck on the reservations, so it really wasn't going to be damaging their lands anymore because they didn't have them, but flooding large portions of these valleys definitely didn't help when it came to the ecosystem. Of course, it helped the burgeoning populations, and it helped provide power, and it helped provide water to drink, and electricity to use for everything else, but there's a lot of lakes that have been made, which has changed environments. It's changed the migratory patterns of fish, the ability for the creatures that exist off that fish to actually exist and to behave. Salmon populations, etc., and trout populations changed dramatically. We have a large impact on our environment through small changes. Build a dam, you change an entire ecosystem. You now have standing water, which of course brings in different insect populations, and the entomology of an area changes. Then that changes the bird populations, which changes the predatory populations, and suddenly you have changed your ecosystem. Yeah. Quite wild, huh? You know, it's funny. I never actually used my geography degree for work, and I never thought I would. It was something I did because I enjoyed it, and it was fun, and I was decently good at it. And I never used it. I did graphic design work after I left university. Then I started YouTube, doing gaming content. It wasn't needed. But ever since I came to the flight sim side and decided to give flight sim YouTube a go, and Averangel became a thing, I've been able to give you guys little bits of knowledge and talk about things in my videos and pass on some fun facts to people to enjoy. And that has given me the ability to use my degree. So I'm very, very pleased now. And there's the southern dams here that created Lake Isabella. Yep. These whopping great domed dams. As you can see, construction and renovation projects going on there with these. Huh. Very cool. Let's get ourselves lined up for our approach back into the airport, which is over there. And I think we are off to the right slightly, so we'll come down this way. We'll drop our power. No, back up to there. Okay, let's configure ourselves for landing. Cow's open. Mixture is... we're at 5.5, so we're okay right now for mixture. Gears coming down. Power's out. Runway in sight, turning in for final. Okay, we'll go down to... we're going to want to keep our mixture in case we have to go around. We don't want to have to do that rich because we'll need to have the power. So flaps 1. Flaps 2. This thing descends like a brick when it goes. Which right now we need. Okay, we're good here. A little bit of power. Trim the nose. A little bit low now, so I need to be also off center. But I'm kind of coming in between these two mountains, so I'm going to have to kind of curve this round a little bit. This is actually a, well, not an air attack base, but it has air attack or firefighting helicopters here. There's the air base on one end of it. We'll see that when we get down. Definitely a bit of a drag it in here. But I also want to make sure I do a nice gentle approach with us being at altitude. Coming down to about 3,000 here. We'll be touching around 2.8, I think. From what I remember of the airfield. There we are. Right, we're low enough now we can go to full mixture. Mixture's out. Roll the power out here. Going to maintain my descent rate about 500. Nice and smooth. A bit slow here, so a bit more power. There we are. Alright, gentlest approaches to date. Other than the shock F-16 review where I somehow greased that thing like the flight lieutenant's butt cheeks. Weird phrase, I know, but there you go. And that's a touchdown. How smooth was that, huh? Oh, buttery smooth. You airliner jockeys would get moist from that. So we've got one parking area up here with a bonanza in there. A couple of cubs. But we're going to go this way. Okay, that's come up. Flaps are retracting. We'll taxi back to the airport proper over here. Give you guys a little look-see-loo. A lovely, enjoyable flight through Southern California today. And the interior. You'd want to see one of my favourite planes. In fact, it's only cost me a tenner. Or less, in fact. Fantastic value for money. And some of you might go, oh, I can only fly a plane if it's full study level. I can follow the POH, that's study enough for me. But it doesn't need to have failures. I'm a grown-up, I can behave myself and follow the POH. Nice and easy. But sometimes, a good plane is worth flying. Arguably, it's a good plane. Is it surface deep? Yeah. But the memories I make flying it and places I go flying it are not skin deep. For me, that's worth every moment. Some aeroplanes in hangars here. We'll taxi past all these guys here. There's a restaurant there. Taxi over to the hangars down here. Oh, did I clunk a hangar? I did clunk a hangar. We'll put... No, we're not pulling it clear, are we? I've buggered this up. There we go. Someone can get out and push. Let's get this thing turned so we're straight on the taxi point. This is quite narrow, I'll admit. And down here, we'll park it. Could have gone around the other way. Didn't want to. Oh, bugger. Hit another one. Well, I guess in the grand scheme of things, we're parking here. So. There we go. Parking brake is on. We'll take a quick look around, shall we? Yep, close enough. We'll park here. So, yes, the air attack base is there with their helipads. That is their little base for the air attack. We've got all the hangars here. And the little restaurant and everything else down here. What's this say? Welcome pilots, please pay tie-down fees upon arrival. And you got the Kern Valley Airport, elevation 2,500 feet. I was only a couple of hundred off. They have fuel, perfect. They have a restaurant, even better. Well, on that note, guys, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed our little relaxed flight this Friday. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye.